Hey, all you ghoulish gourmets, and sorry for the crazy hair. Um, Once again, StreamYard is acting like it don't have a good signal, so hopefully it won't mean that I'll go off the air periodically. Um, Sorry, trying to fix this hair and make it uh, fairly presentable. Hey, Candace. But before we get started with the critters cake, and sorry for the I've got a green tongue and green teeth because I've been eating some of the icing, so just bear with me on that. Sorry, drinking a little bit of water there. Now, this little thingy-mabob is not going off of here, so hopefully you guys can see me somewhat and it's not really, fuzzy or anything like that. And hey, Batman, but before we get started, I just wanted to say this has been a rather rough day for me. I'm not going to go into details about what's going on, uh, just because I'm not going to air out dirty laundry on here. But needless to say, it has not been a good day for me, hence me being late. And one of my parakeets appears to be sick on top of everything else that's been going on. So, um, I don't know. He may get well, he may not. Parakeets can be delicate creatures sometimes. So, I've had many a parakeet, and some, live for a long time, some don't. Um, if I seem a little off my game, it's because of those two things. And thanks, Batman. Um, but it's just been one of those days where it kept going from bad to worse. And so, I planned to start this at 3, and then I got behind, and then I wanted to start at 3:30. That didn't happen either because I discovered that Dario, one of my parakeets, is not well right now. Um, so the other part of that, because all this stuff is going on, I decided to go ahead and ice the cake, which I'm going to bring up the haunted food cam, and I actually forgot to. Well, I can. I don't know why I can't get this thing to go down so I can pick some of the different things, and it's not letting me pick it. It's gracious. It's not letting me go any farther down on the screen. One moment while I try to add. All right, so now we got the haunted food cam logo up there. Thank you, Candace. I hope Dario gets better too. Kane, the other bird, of course, named after Kane Hodder, has been taking care of Dario and spending time with him. Uh, so anyway, I'll try to keep uh, I'll try to keep from going back in there and stuff like that all the time. So, Reggie, what are you doing? Reggie's in here looking at me. So, as you can see, I have the cake iced and ready for us to decorate it. I did have my green grass tip and a bag full of green icing. However, when I went to try to start decorating it, the end popped off and icing was going everywhere. So I said, okay, That's just par for the course. So then I just took a knife and started icing the cake green to simulate grass. Okay, so I'm also going to get out the little, our little white chocolate decorations for the cake, and we'll go ahead and at least put the Easter eggs. Here are the little Easter eggs. You can see I've still got some green food coloring or something on them. And we're just gonna, I guess, strategically place these on the cake, right? And I also have this cake on a little turnstile, kind of like a lazy Susan type thing, so I can move it around easy. I'm just gonna, and don't worry, I'm gonna tell you how I made all of this stuff here in just a second. Just like I said, I'm kind of just off my game today. So we've got our little eggs there. It already looks good. Well, thank you, Candace. I appreciate that. Now, the little creatures, this mold was not, I'm actually going to make this, well, I'm going to quit handling it. Because if you handle it, the warmness of your hand kind of melts the white chocolate and after it's set back up. But I'm going to make myself the solo layout for a second so that you guys can see these little creatures that I made that I'm going to be making look like critters. They kind of look like a critter anyway, but hopefully when I get them decorated with icing, um, it'll be even better. But so they're smaller than I thought. I thought they were going to be like this, and I was going to be putting one big critter on there. No, they're a little bit smaller, but you live, you learn, right? So we'll go ahead and put our little critters here on top of our cake. We're going to decorate them. We're going to give them some hair here in just a little bit here. So, Candace, thank you. You say how cute. Actually, I have some white chocolate eggs left over. I'm actually going to put those back in the fridge. All right. So, let's exit solo layout. Let's make our cake actually the solo layout there. I don't know if I can make this in. There we go. Wanted to make it a little bit closer so you guys and gals can see this. And so we have some brown icing. It's icing dyed brown. This is buttercream frosting, and it's streaked with blue. And what we're going to attempt to do here is to put some hair on our little dudes here. See, there we go. Now, remember, I didn't practice this beforehand. Bear with me. Just trying to give these guys some hair. This is the way the grass is supposed to look, only that piping bag that I had in the tip was not cooperating. Keep in mind, too, that I'm not the most artistic of people. All right. The key, I think, is just to get this, and even in this piping bag, it's starting to come out the sides. I don't know. I have severe trouble with these piping bags and decorating. I've always had trouble. So, got one kind of covered with hair there. And I do have, do have some of these candy googly eyes. So I could, dang, I don't have too steady of a hand right here. So, um, and you could generally make these any way you wanted to, right? But they look somewhat like a cross between a critter and a muppet, right? Um, I was gonna try to tilt that so you guys and gals can see that, but I may just have to take the camera or the phone off of the stand. But you can kind of see what I was trying to do here with making that look like a critter, right? Hey, Blissful. But I'm not gonna sit and make y'all watch as I decorate all of these critters, right? But what I am gonna talk about, what's my favorite scene in Critters? I don't know, Batman. I've got quite a few favorite scenes in Critters. It's an entertaining little film, and I would really like to go back and watch it again here soon. But I'm thinking, if I remember right, it's Critters 2 that actually has an Easter theme. Uh, don't tip it. Yeah. Um, Hold on, I'm going to step away for just 1 second there, okay? Okay, so, oh, well, thank you, Candace. She said, I've never been able to use piping bags or even make a cake. I think you're doing a great job. It's looking awesome already. Well, while we got that focused on the cake, actually, and I will show y'all the front of the critter there in just 1 second. But I did want to talk about how I made this. Now, this is the cake was made using a Milky Way cake recipe. Blissful says piping bags are tricky to use. No kidding. I mean, I always have trouble with them. Um, Whether I use the little plastic ones I uh, or I use the more stronger looking ones, I always have trouble. My tips want to pop off, and it doesn't matter how the consistency of my icing or whatever. But anyway, back to the Milky Way cake recipe that Kathy gave me. I adapt or I altered it to use Snickers, and so you could use any candy bars that you wanted in this, and I think most of them will work. But um, Sorry, I'm distracted. Steve's checking on the bird. I just checked on him, but for those of you, I can't even talk. For those of you that weren't here when I talked about how bad of a day I was having, and then my parakeet Dario, my blue parakeet, appears to be ill. So we don't know what's going to happen with him. Um, yeah, Blissful, I do I do get more icing on me, I think. Um, but anyway, back to the cake. So I used 7 Snickers candy bars. I used 2 sticks of butter, 2 cups of sugar, or in my case, I use Splenda sweetener. 3 eggs, 2.5 cups of flour, a cup of buttermilk, a teaspoon of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and a half cup of nuts. In my case, I use chopped pecans. So what you do is you melt the candy in 1 stick of butter, you stir it until smooth, and you set it aside. Easy enough, right? Then I cream the sugar, or in my case, like I said, the sweetener on 1 stick of butter. Beat in the eggs, add the dry ingredients alternately with buttermilk. Add your candy mixture, your vanilla, and your nuts. Fill a greased and floured bundt pan, 2/3 full of batter, and bake at 325 for an hour. Then you want to cool and spread with icing. Now, I did not use the icing recipe for the cake. I did buttercream frosting, and I'll try to remember to go back and add that recipe for quick and almost professional buttercream icing. It was very quick and it tastes delicious. Okay. So I used a half cup unsalted butter at room temperature, 2 cups of powdered or confectioner sugar, 1.5 teaspoons pure vanilla extract, 2 teaspoons of milk, and 3 drops of food coloring if you want to color. Okay. So first you're going to cream your butter in the bowl of a stand mixer fitted with the paddle attachment until smooth and fluffy. You're going to gradually beat in the powdered sugar until fully incorporated. Beat in vanilla extract. Add milk and beat for an additional 3 to 4 minutes. Then, if you're going to color it, you will add your food coloring and beat for 30 seconds until smooth or until desired color is reached. Now, I actually didn't do this because I was doing 2 different colors, and so I just mixed it by hand after separating the icing in the bowl, in the separate bowls. Um, and you can use this immediately or store the buttercream in an airtight container at room temperature for up to 3 days. Okay. And I made the mistake of putting it in the refrigerator because in my frazzled mind, I thought that's what it said to do. So I had to let it get soft a little bit before I actually started to do anything. And I got icing on that. But so anyway, that is basically all there is to this, other than what did I do with my? I just had some regular silicone molds for the Easter eggs because my Easter egg molds didn't get here in time for me to do this. And this is the creature mold that I used, and I just filled it up with melted uh, white white chocolate. I just got some white chocolate chips at the grocery store, and I melted that in my double boiler. And that's also what I used for the coating on the eggs and the red dot on the eggs. I basically did that and colored it. And I colored my icing. I had brown icing and green icing. And that's basically all there is to it, gang. Batman, you say, in one scene in Critters 2 is the restaurant scene where one critter gets his hair shot off and looks in the mirror and says, bitchin'. Yeah. There are lots of cute little scenes on the Critters movies. But now, before I get off of here, and guys, I'm sorry that this was very, very short. But as I said, this has been one of those days that has not been very good for me. But just so you guys can see my little makeshift critter there, I just took the phone off. You see, I got some icing on his eye, and I got some brown icing over here. But he looks somewhat like he's got hair, and you can see the other two critters that I have not decorated yet. But I'll try to remember. I'm going to remove the haunted food cam here. Because I'm probably going to be, well, I'm shortly going to be getting off here. So um, there's no sense really leaving that on there for now. But again, I'm so sorry, gang, that this was so short. I intended it to be more in depth. I really did. But evidently, Karma had other ideas for me today. And hopefully, I'll be able to do the Night Riders watch along tonight. We'll just play it by ear. But I want to thank each and every one of you for being in here today as my scatterbrain self to try to attempt to save face and create this critters cake for you guys. I had a lot of fun doing it. Thank you, Batman. You said it looks really good. And we had a few people in here. Now, I know a lot of people are watching WrestleMania and will be watching WrestleMania tonight. I totally understand that. Hopefully, my little bird will get better. If not, I'm sure I will tell you guys about it. Thank you, Blissful. Blissful loves the cake. Yeah, I really wanted to make that green icing look like grass, but as I said, the piping tool was not really cooperating for me. But I'm going to attempt to return tonight to do the watch along for George Romero's Night Riders Boo to WrestleMania. So stay tuned. Hopefully I'll be able to do that. Thank you, Candace. You said it looks great. Um, but I'm going to get off here. I'm going to talk to my birdie and try to spend a little time with him and do a few more things. And then hopefully I'll be able to do the watch along a little bit later. But I love each and every one of you. And thank you so much for joining me today. And I'll see everybody next time. Bye for now.